Hi guys, I'm Catherine Guidry, and this is my husband.
I'm Brad. It's nice to meet everybody.
Yeah, and you may be tuning in on iTunes, or maybe you'll be listening in on a podcast. But what Brad and I are going to be talking about today is something that maybe a lot of couples have thought about. I know I've definitely spent a lot of time thinking about this, and so we're going to be talking about today the topic of whether or not to work with your spouse, either full-time or in a part-time capacity, and we're going to be sharing with you guys like in which ways we work together, the challenges, the
Yes.
advantages, all the
Shooting
things.
together.
Yes, all the things. So, so what Brad was saying, like shooting together. So, Brad and I met in architecture school 11 years ago, and Brad is now pursuing architectural design full time, and I am a wedding photographer, and Brad helps me by second shooting. And
Yes.
so, although I do work with Brad in like peer review and on client meetings sometimes, the most closely we work is on a wedding day.
Yeah.
And on a wedding day, Brad is shooting with me a lot. I would say for most of my weddings, Brad and I are shooting side by side. And so we are going to be talking about today all of our thoughts around that. So,
And like how does that all actually work?
yes, people are always like, wait, that's your husband that we met earlier? I'm like, yes, it is. Or they're saying like, that's your wife.
Well, I think they're saying that because one kind of cardinal rule we have when we're shooting together is that we act so professional. It's like we don't act like a couple when we shoot together. I think that's
Yeah.
just something that you and I both uphold when we're
Oh,
working
for
together.
sure.
So most people are like, wait, are y'all married?
Yeah, I think it's that. And then also, I've had a couple of people say, like, both adults that are, the bride and groom's parents or even wedding party members, they'd be like, oh, that's so cool. Like, I could never work. I hear that all the time. I could never work with my spouse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, don't worry. We're not like
We're
rainbows
not-
and butterflies either.
Yeah,
So-
trust me, it's not all fairies and butterflies.
And pixie dust or
and pixie
whatever.
dust. No, it's not.
So Brad, I want you to start first. What is it like working with your wife on a wedding day?
Okay, it's stressful. It has its moments, but I think it's a like a seesaw effect. I think like sometimes it's crazy, and I'm like, oh my god, why am I doing this? Like, because what happens? We both work differently. You know, I'm so intense. Like when I'm working, I'm just intense. I'm very jovial, like when I'm not working, but whenever I'm working, it's just like militaristic. It's like, what is our objective? Objective is to get the first look. Okay, got it. Right? Like, here's my camera, Kat. Is this a good photo? And Kat, when she's working, is also, I believe, very intense, but not with the client, but with me. So the most stressful part about our day is I think the way we'll speak to one another when we're both at the apex of like our emotions.
I didn't even ask you what was the most stressful part of the day. All I did was ask you what it was like working with me. Well, thank the Lord, okay?
No, that's what I'm saying though. Like that is the most stressful thing. Like that's part of working together. Like it's all encompassing of that when
Yeah.
you ask that.
Okay, so from my perspective, it is wonderful working with my spouse.
Because I'm easy to work with. Just be honest. Just
There
be
was a
honest
little
with
bit of
people.
sarcasm. No,
No, I'm a team player.
no.
though.
I mean, you are a team player, and I think it is really cool working with you. It's different. Like I've worked with other second shooters, and I feel like, when it's somebody that you aren't married to, I feel like there's a little bit more of I'm not gonna say like a respect, but like kind of, because I feel like you respect me, like I respect you.
Yes.
For sure. But it's more of like a 50-50 with you and I, because it's like we're a team outside of life, and then like we're a team on a wedding day. And so I think it's more of like a 50-50 split, even though it is my business. Whereas like with a second shooter who maybe I'm not married to, I just feel like it's like a different dynamic, if that
Yes.
makes sense.
Yeah, and in a lot of ways, I'm jealous of that dynamic. Like, I'll see that dynamic, and I'm like, well, I wish you talked to me like that sometimes.
Aww.
But that's a trade-off, right?
Yeah.
That's a benefit of working
It
with
is
somebody
true.
that doesn't go home and sleep in the same bed as you at night. You know what I mean? Like, you have that other person there. You don't have all this emotional baggage built up, you know?
Yeah, because I do feel like, if a second shooter comes to me and they don't have an image that's exactly what I'm looking for, I would probably say, hey, next time you take that photo, you should, try to like dial it down. You're a little overexposed. And then if it was Brad, I'd be like, "Ugh, that is way too bright."
Yes, exactly. There's just no filter.
Yeah.
Because remember, like you live at home with one another. So why am I going to filter it now while like we're working?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's
okay. So clearly,
that is work.
all right, here we go.
together.
Okay. So working together with your spouse, it's a little complicated, is what we're trying to say. But
Yeah, I think so.
I do think that there can be a lot of rewards.
Yes.
Also at the same time, and one thing that I wanted to talk about, because I think this is really important for our dynamic, and I'm very curious actually how other people do it, if it truly is like a 50-50 business, because like with my photography business, it's more mine, and with your architectural business, it's more yours. So when you're shooting with me,
it is yours.
like, would you say that I take the lead?
100%.
I would agree with that. And so I think with our business, that does help, because, if we're, say, debating a location, I can say, like, well, I really like this one better. And you would say, okay, well, let's just do that. And I feel like if it was a 50-50 split, like, it would be a little more challenging. So I don't know. If a couple is thinking of working together,
I would put somebody in the lead. I would designate somebody to be the leader on wedding days. Like, I just think you should. I think you should have like just like an architectural firm would lay out. I think your business should be the person who is the visionary and the person who is logistics or technical.
Yeah, or just figure out like what your strengths are. So, I have some good friends of mine that I've helped out with when she was close to delivering her babies. Each time I would go and shoot with her husband, and sometimes she was there, sometimes she was not, but her role was very much like the posing, the interacting with the client, and he was more like technical gear, the mule, like he was like, the runner, like he, where she was kind of the brains and the brawn, like that's kind of their dynamic. And I think they were really playing to their strengths, and they both came together to make a really strong team. And so even if one person isn't the quote lead on the business, it's nice to have your, and let me back up and say that for that couple, he was also equally as smart. I feel like I need to clarify that. I think they just knew their roles. Like he was a very supportive role and had a very similar personality to you, like a team player. And so he kind of let her take the lead in some ways. And I think that fit her personality, because her personality was a little bit more like mine.
Yes.
And so I think you kind of figure out who you are as a people and really play to those strengths.
Yeah, well, because honestly, it makes for an easier day for everybody, though, because then you can designate a point of contact. So like when people are trying to tell me like, hey, we need y'all to do this and this and this, I'm like, well, hold on, we got it. Catherine, my wife, is the lead photographer. It helps to have a lead, because that's like, if people are telling me, but then they're also telling you, that really can confuse the day.
I can like feel the intensity right now that you don't normally have, but like this is how, okay. I feel like if you know Brad outside of work, you're like, oh, Brad is like, he's so chill, and he's like, he's so easygoing.
I am.
And he is, but the intensity that you're feeling right now, it's almost like giving me anxiety
because honestly, like I'm in that space right now. Like when I'm in workspace,
it's like stressing me out.
It's in it. Like I'm just in it. You know what I mean? Okay.
All right. So productive.
Moving along.
All right. What happens if you're fighting on a wedding day?
Okay.
Behind the scenes, so let's talk about it. Like, what if you're fighting on a wedding day right before you start shooting? We've definitely been there.
Yes.
We've definitely been like getting out of the Uber, mad at each other. Mm-hmm. What does that look like? Okay.
Can I first start off by saying one way to prevent that is to not go to sleep late the night before.
Ooh, I like that.
Like for us, that is a big one. Like just get a good night's rest and
wake up early enough to get everything together.
Yes.
Before you walk out the door, because I think like the rushing, when we're rushing and like throwing stuff in a bag, like did you get this? Did you get this? That causes a little bit of frustration.
Because we're bringing that energy, that nervous anxiousness into the Uber, bringing that into the day. And then we have to do even more of a hard stop before we step in front of that door to go and see the bride and the groom.
Yeah, but it is a hard stop.
So one thing that we always do to diffuse any sort of fight that's about like that we've been having or whatever, we always do a lunch buffer before we go to see a bride and groom. And the lunch buffer is always really helpful because it allows us some time to put our gear away into the corner, to sit at a table across from each other and just have some water. And just like we put the phones down and we're just like, okay, let's go over, like, let's just talk about today. Let's,
Mm-hmm.
let's just have a calming moment. And that usually is about what, 30 to 45 minutes.
At least.
And then we actually get to the site about
Early.
15, 20 minutes earlier to do
Mm-hmm.
introductions.
Mm-hmm.
And so by the time you start shooting, you really have forgotten about whatever dispute you were having before.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I think too, even if we are having some sort of like bickering during the wedding day itself, we also never, ever let the client know.
Oh, never.
We never let our vendors know. We never let the guests know. And how do we do that? By not physically acting it out. So if you are having, and what I mean by that is like the waving of the hands and the like shaking of the head and the snapping of the fingers.
Oh, like in
or
the car?
Like,
In the Uber?
or whatever is like happening, you know,
Yeah.
and if you would have your normal like whatever, if you are having a conversation with that person about something, you do it very calmly. Like
Yeah.
something a little like this. Brad, I am very aggravated right now with a smile on your face.
Yes.
That's key. Because you're showing me photos on your camera when I have like 30 people that are waiting to take a photo right now. And so I know this is really important to you, but can this wait like 30 seconds or like 30 minutes?
And I'll be like, yeah, but you're going to look at him in about 10 minutes because I really need you to see this photo.
Yeah. And it's not even always like photography related.
No, it's not
That's probably
always.
not even the best example, but maybe Brad's saying like, or one of us is saying like, hey, you know, maybe the topic is like, don't talk to me like that.
Yeah, that's a
you know,
okay,
that's a big one. That's
a
huge.
huge one on
Yes,
wedding days.
Yes.
It's
or any day
talking-
really, but
yeah.
especially in public.
The tone you take with your spouse in front of other people.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, like if you want to talk about a trigger,
Yes.
that's a trigger.
Yes, because like no one wants to be disrespected, period, but no one wants to be disrespected in front of people. And so,
Yeah.
you
that's
know,
a tough
like
one.
that is definitely something that we've learned for sure. Like I know especially Brad has said that to me, like, hey, with a smile on his face, like, hey, don't talk to me like that with other people around. And I'm like, oops.
Yeah.
You're right. And if you guys are watching on YouTube, you're seeing like the actual physical interaction of that. But you know, you have to understand that people are watching you even when you don't think that they're watching you, and they're looking at you as professionals. And so when you show up to a wedding day as a couple, and it sounds like very lecturish, I know people know that, but it really is kind of hard when you're a couple.
Yeah.
And like our goal is to create an amazing experience. Our goal is to create an amazing experience for our clients, and we do that by respecting each other and showing up first and foremost for the couple.
Yeah, and not existing like our relationship doesn't exist on a wedding day.
Yeah.
We have
Okay.
photographers.
Now I feel like we've talked a lot about like the stresses.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we did.
And like it isn't all bad.
But it's
So-
complicated. That's
so
why. Like
it
it kind of
is.
it all intertwines. It all intertwines. So I'm sorry. Like that's just kind of
It is. It
we had
is.
to discuss that.
Okay, but let's also talk about what are some of the advantages, because like I don't want this to be discouraging for people, because I'm gonna be
No.
honest with you, I love when you're there.
Yeah.
Like I love it so much, and I know that it can be complicated, and I know all these things, but I absolutely love working with you.
Yes.
Because I know that if anyone is gonna be looking out for me, and anyone is gonna make sure that like me as a person is taken care of, like it's you.
Yeah, and honestly, I love it too because like seeing people praise you like in front of me like makes me like, oh my gosh, like Catherine really is amazing in what she does. Like people are telling me this, like, oh my gosh, your wife is an
Aw.
amazing photographer. I get that that's firsthand. Like that's a firsthand thing. I get to see that. I would not be privy to that information. And it's
That's so cool.
amazing.
Well, people say that, I mean, they really do. Like, people say the same thing about you, and they're completely in awe of how, they really are in awe of how we work together. And it has taken a lot of work, and I'm so proud of that when people say that. I'm like, thank you so much, Brad. It really is. He's so great. He's such a nice person. And it's so cool that, you know, people who we're photographing get to share in that, and we get to share in their relationship and their marriage together. And that's something that I feel like from a life perspective, I would love for other people to get to experience too.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for bringing that point up because That's one thing that, especially for wedding photographers, like that's another added bonus, is that like you get to see wedding vows every weekend.
Yeah.
And like I always tell Kat, it's so funny. No matter what fight we had that morning, like after we leave a wedding, like it kind of just dissipates because you kind of relive your wedding day each weekend.
It's true.
So that's a perk. That's another one of those perks or rewards.
I agree. Would you agree or would you disagree that the couples like the idea of having another couple photograph for
You love
them?
it.
Yeah, I had to point that out.
They love it.
I think they really do like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think most people maybe like respect it. Is that, maybe you think that's the right word?
I don't know. I just think it's fun because like they're getting married and like you're a
Yes.
couple and so it's kind of like you can play off of each other almost in this really neat dynamic that I didn't anticipate until you had shot a
Well,
few weddings with me and I was like, oh, okay, cool.
I mean, it's like it's the validation like for weddings, right? It's like, hey, like my wife and I like shoot together. This is how much we love weddings.
and we're still married.
And we're still married. Like we're doing it. If they can do it, then anybody can do it. That's what I'm saying.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
All right, so I wanted to kind of bring that up because I do think like from a business perspective, it is very marketable.
Yeah.
You know, it is very marketable to be a couple, like a husband and wife or wife and wife or husband and husband team, and to be photographing for other couples. I think that that's something that we didn't really realize until we started shooting together. So
Yeah.
all this being said, we've talked about the good things, the bad things, the fun things, the not so fun things. Would you say it's a good idea to go into business together full time? So
No. No, I don't.
okay, why?
Risk awareness. I think it's a risk. I do. I think that if both people are in the same business, I think that I don't know. Maybe some people would disagree with me on that, but I think that each person having their own business diversifies your incomes into your business. So if something happens to me, you still have your business. Something happens to you, I still have my business. And I think the crossover is nice, but to have two different businesses would be where I would go with it.
Okay. I am definitely split on this because I feel like from a risk aversion standpoint, I get it because I will say after having dreamt and dreamed for so long that we would be in business 100% together, it is really, really, really nice right now to see Brad's business grow and feel like, okay, I could maybe scale back a little bit now that Brad's working full time and not feel all the burden and pressure on one business. You know, all of our eggs in one basket. My dad always said, don't put all your eggs in one basket, and I get that. So I agree, 50%.
Wait, can I go ahead and also point out something too? Like this situation is also because we have another business, right? Bringing in income. Like whenever you can actually step away from whatever income I'm bringing in, you can actually relieve yourself of that pressure and be like, okay, maybe I'll go this way with my business because I have this other income coming in from this other side.
Right. That's what I was saying. Like I can like scale back right now because you're working. So it's like we're kind of like diversifying, which is nice. But on the other hand, I do have so much confidence in my vision of this business that I believe if you were to like come on board 100%, I feel like the sky would be the limit, you know? But that would never happen because I can't remember if I said this or not on the podcast, but like you have to do what makes each person happy individually. And even though that's what I would love, I know who I married and like that's not what you would love. You have your own hopes and desires. And I think as a couple, you know, it's not just about money. It's not just about one person's dreams even. Like it's about both people. And so you have to really figure out like what makes it work for you as businesses or a business based on what each individual person's hopes and dreams are. But just like FYI though, if you ever like, you know, wanted to hop over onto the full-time Catherine Goodger train,
Oh,
like,
I know.
hey.
Oh, I know. She's knocking at my door every day.
Yeah, because I just think like if you are one of those couples that is 100% husband and wife team, I mean, I've just seen it. Like I've seen where it can
expedites
take you.
the project.
It
the
expedites
process.
it. And so I think if you
Yes.
have both people on board, it is really cool. But again, you have to make each individual person happy. And so that probably will never be the case for us. But that doesn't mean that I can't achieve the sky or whatever, the sky's the limit either. And you can, we can both do that. We just have to do it with other people. So you could still second shoot, and then I could get other people to partner with me and help me on other projects. Like even right now with the YouTube channel, like Ben Tone, my friend Ben, like he's helping with that. And I feel like you can have the ability to work with other awesome people.
Yes.
Not just your spouse.
Yes. Yeah, I think that's worth pointing out, Kat. Like you can do it without your spouse. Like you just have to be smart in the way that you go about outsourcing things, in the way that you go about building networks and relationships with people outside of your partner.
Yeah.
But you can do it, and you are an example of that.
Which actually can be very advantageous because like right now, I feel like my business is in a place where, Brad's super busy, but I have these big ideas this year. And well, I have big ideas every year, but I feel like my ideas are really big this year.
But no, this year we're really executing.
Yeah, I'm like, no. And so, but the cool thing is that, okay, say it was Brad and I feel like we try to DIY a lot of stuff that we probably wouldn't know that much about per se.
Yes.
But like going back to this particular project that we're working right here, like having a YouTube channel, doing a podcast, like we're seeking people who are really good at what they do in different aspects of business. So like going back to videography, like Ben, he's a professional videographer. Like Brad and I might be trying to DIY this by ourselves if we were full time with this. But instead I'm like, no, we don't have time. I need to hire a videographer. Or I'm trying to build up my Pinterest following. I need to hire a Pinterest expert. Or I'm trying to do Facebook ads. I need to hire a Facebook ads expert. And when you have time, you can do all that stuff yourself. But when you have big goals and big dreams and you don't have time and you have the financial means, that's when you seek and you outsource. And so that's where we are. That's how we're doing things. But, it is nice that we do get to shoot together. And I feel like it's a great balance for who we are as couples, And I think if you're listening in and you're feeling like there's only one way, there's not. Like I legit saw the business for so long and felt sad because, I was like, I really want this certain business model and
or like my business isn't going to reach its full potential because my husband's not in it.
Yeah.
And there is
100%, not in it 100%.
Not in 100%. We all know that model works. We see it. Like it's all over the place. But rest assured, the model where the husband is not involved or the wife is not involved also works. That model is also successful. It just takes what you just outlined.
Anything is possible. I think you can make the business whatever you want, and you can make it work in the ways in which you dream. You have to figure out what's going to make you happy for like your situation.
So to answer your question, it seems like we're both split. I don't know. I would be 50-50. It sounds like you would still want to be 100.
I think I would, but I'm just like, that's just because I would want you to be a part of it. But I'm really happy that I had this conversation with someone yesterday. I said, I'm just like really happy that you're happy in where you are. And, I think you've searched for a long time with figuring out where you wanted to go with your life and your business. And I think it's really cool to see you happy. And I'm happy,
So, yeah, put that on the 50-50 realm because honestly, when you're at the 100%, like, let's say you have both people are 100% committed, people change. Like, people's minds change. Like, what if the other person's like, hey,
actually,
babe,
I want to do something else.
I want to do something else, and I've been feeling like this for a few years. Like, you got to realize, like, that's integrated into your life and your relationship, too.
Yeah.
It's all kind of mixed in. So, that's why I still like the 50-50. That's just where I'm at with it.
I hope this helped someone just having a conversation around it, around how we work together, the good, the bad, the ugly, the celebrations, the hardships. We're here to help. So if anybody has any questions, I'm at Catherine Guidry on Instagram. What's your handle on Instagram?
I'm Brad Michael Design.
Yeah, so you can contact us there. Or if you want to go download some free photo resources, you can hop over to my website, CatG with a C, so catgresources.com. I have a ton of free resources there, whether you're just a business owner or if you are a photographer. I have some photo-specific related downloads, and we hope this was good for you guys. We had fun.
Yeah,
I had fun talking about this.
I got emotional, but like I said, it was triggering because it put me in that headspace that we are in when we're during the wedding day, and like
it's just so funny because like I can tell when you go into work mode.
Oh yeah, it's very like direct.
Yeah.
So
okay. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting us, and have a wonderful day.